Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 156 of Inside the Walls podcast. Along my partner in crime, Matt Patton. The third guy, Jeff, is not with us right now. He had dentist surgery today, so he'll be back in the next episode. And what a way to start off the episode in the green screen. Matt, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing great. I'm just glad that it's not Nebraska internet issues this time. So,
No, it's not working. I'm trying to distract myself. Bro, yes, I know we're live, but no one can see what's going on. But anyways, ladies, welcome to another episode of Inside the Walls podcast. This is an episode dedicated to the National Arena League and what happened this past weekend in Omaha, where all 9 organizations came into praise him. Ricky, no, I'm not saying it. We're not live, but okay, whatever. How is everyone doing today? We're having a good, joyous time. We are, aren't we? Yes.
yeah, doing great.
9 question mark. Okay, Rez. I know, Rez. We'll have Ricky on here just a second. He's doing too much stuff in the green screen. We're bringing him on now. I'm done with it here because the owner of the Omaha Beef and one of the main guys behind the major meeting this past weekend, Ricky. Please stop what you were doing.
No, hey man, it's hey Jim and Matt. Hey, I appreciate you guys letting me on. I feel like this is a little unfair though. Like you guys are Batman and Robin, and honestly, Coach Rez and I were like Wolverine and Deadpool. So I'd really appreciate it if you would just go ahead and send Coach Rez an invite right now. We know he's watching. Send him an invite and let him jump on in on the call and stuff like that. I mean, are you not the guy that can kind of control this show? Because I have a hard time believing Coach Rez would not be about getting on this podcast with me, you know? So Coach Rez, if he does not send you the link to jump onto the call, then we know he's very afraid, you know? But anyway, so yeah, Batman and Robin can be taken out by Wolverine or Deadpool. I'll let Coach Rez pick out which one he is or whatever like that. And yeah, we'll go from there. So, but hey, that's why you do stuff live. It's for, hey, spur of the moment improv stuff. And I appreciate you guys having me on. And yeah, as you kind of jumped on the introduction and everything, we just came off of the NAL League meetings here. See, you're sending Coach Rez the invite, which is great. I can just tell you have you're a very, very crappy card player, just so you know, Jim. But anyways, no, I mean league meetings were incredibly productive, incredibly fantastic, and just excited to kind of take the work that we did last week and kind of bring it on in. You know, hey, Coach Negron, as Daddy likes to say, I just saw your comment pop up there. You know, I mean, I should have thought about you instead of bringing on your daddy. And I shouldn't be saying this stuff. We're going to focus on league meetings here, Jim. We'll focus on league meetings is what we'll do. So,
All right. With the league meetings, we had all 9 organizations. There were some photos that were taken of the 10th organization. And I know that's still a little tidbit you guys are holding back some. But overall, what were the main goals of this meeting, especially right after the season, getting all these teams together from multiple leagues into one room?
Well, first of all, let's if we're going to have the podcast, we'll kind of set facts straight. One of the things that I love is about your podcast is you speak nothing but facts. And to say that there was only 9 or only 10 teams at league meetings would not be facts, just so you know. I won't elaborate it on that. People can kind of speculate as far as what that means, but I can be sending a lot of smoke signals all the way from Omaha. People can tell very clearly what that means. And there were numerous teams that were in attendance there. But no, I mean, it's as I said, it's probably one of the most productive league meetings I've ever had. Jeff, my right-hand guy, Jeff Sprouse, everybody knows Jeff. I'd say between Jeff and I combined, that's probably close to 40, if not more than 40 league meetings we've ever gone to. And him and I had talked about it on Saturday. I mean, the meetings were Thursday and Friday. We talked about it on Saturday about just all the stuff that we learned, but also to collectively working together as a group. And it was really great. I mean, some of these gentlemen you've been working with, I mean, like Brandon and I've had several Zoom calls and stuff like that. You know, sitting down, meeting with Brandon for the first time face-to-face, other people as well. Richard from Richard from Columbus, Justin from Harrisburg, but also 2 other people that have been around for a little bit. Rez was there with Chris Duffy as managing partner. Sioux City was there. We got to be careful because I'll start saying other teams on top of that I shouldn't yet at this point. But it was great. I think that you get like-minded people in one room working together on what's collectively as a whole rather than their individual teams. And I'll say this, for better or for worse, several leagues for the 2024 season went through a lot of growing pains. And I think it's those growing pains that so many people went through that kind of really made people rethink their thought process or refocus what their thought processes are. And just, we had a lot of intelligent people in that room accomplishing a lot of great things for the upcoming 2025 season.
Sounds like the meeting went well. One of the things I noticed is that we are scheduling a 10-game season. Is that confirmed yet?
That is confirmed. Teams will be allowed to schedule a non-league opponent if they want. The league will have the 2025 schedule. We'll have the 2025 schedule released, anticipated sometime around the beginning of October. It might not even be that late, just so you know. And actually, let me go back a couple steps here. I can tell you that every team that is announced in the NAL for the 2025 season will be on the schedule. We are requiring teams to do stuff in advance prior to announcing them playing in the league. And that'll be the same case with the schedule as well. And so my number one goal, we went around the room and we talked about what goals and objectives were. It just happened to be like where I was sitting at. I was like one of the very last people to go and talk. And my number one goal was that whoever is in this room sitting at these tables here this year, that same group of people is back next year. And I can say this honestly, and Jeff and I talked about this as well, the 40 years between the two of us, I don't think that's ever happened where everybody that's been in the room from one year to the next is in there the following year. And I feel it's not fool's gold. It's not being naive or anything. I just think it's how we are handling and conducting business this year. I think that is a incredibly strong possibility, if not a very high likelihood. And I say that in what's coming off of one of probably the most tumultuous and terrible seasons for the industry as a whole. But I really believe that we've got that foundation in place because, again, we just have some incredibly smart people in this league working collectively. And I'll even do like another news drop here as well. Somebody everybody knows has a ton of respect for Bob Scott, who, as many people know, was the founder of the Sioux City Bandits, had and owned a team for 20 plus years, is back working with the NAL and working in the front office in a capacity as well. So again, when you take people like that and you add all these great people working together, and it's not just adding them, it's incorporating and taking their ideas, their concepts, their thoughts, their knowledge, and actually implementing that. I'm just very, very proud of us as an ownership group, as a league, what we've done so far. We haven't even played a game yet. And I can just tell you there's more incredible announcements coming for the NAL for the 2025 season and beyond. It's really going to be an incredible season.
Matt?
Yeah, I'm excited to hear about a few things. The first thing that I wanted to ask you.
Hold on here, Matt. Hold on. Why does Batman get to ask Robin a question whenever Wolverine's trying to ask Deadpool on here and he's not on this podcast with me? You know what I mean? But that's fine. Go right on ahead.
There you go. There you go.
Coach Rez, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How are y'all? How are y'all doing?
Glad you could jump on, Coach. Glad you could jump on. I mean, I know that you could have. I know you could have taken them on by yourself, or I could have, but in this instance, we're really just gonna chew them up and spit them out after we're done. So anyway,
this might be already the most off the rails episode of this podcast. But either way, one thing that I'm excited to hear about as a fan and as someone who just loves the indoor game, other than the removal of the rebound nets that we already heard about from Todd Walkenhorst, are there any new rules or changes to the rules that fans should be expected to see that are going to maybe impact how we watch the game in 2025?
Actually, it's great timing for Coach Rez to get on the call. Coach Rez is one of the members on our rules and competition committee, which actually has coaches and owners on there. So Coach Rez, I'll let you kind of take the lead on that one. Great first question for you right out of the gate.
Yeah, absolutely. So, to start off with myself and, of course, you got to have Coach Negron involved with that too. So there in Carolina, and then Kristen over there at Idaho. It's great to meet those guys and seeing Idaho guys all over the place on social media and stuff. So to be able to put some guys and see them in person was pretty cool. So great group of guys all around.
But anyways, in regards to the rules, though, what they were talking about, Coach Rez, if you want to talk about what the group's going to get together and do and stuff, I think that's what Matt was kind of wanting to double check with us.
So we'll get together on a few things. Chris and Brandon and myself, and of course Todd's involved with that. We'll talk about some stuff. The main thing is to get all the coaches on the same page with everything, because one of the things we mentioned, on the field we're very competitive. But off the field, we need to be a tight group and try to work collectively to, make it a tight situation all around. Being able to present that stuff to the board of any updates or things that we'd like to have changed or implemented, anything like that, tweak some things here and there. Todd's main concern is, the rules are pretty much going to stay in place, other than there's a few things that need to be tightened up across the board. So I think collectively as the coaches, what better way to have the coaches come up with that stuff, since we're the ones, handling that stuff. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to be able to work hand in hand with the owners to make that stuff happen.
And Matt, I'll piggyback one more thing on Coach Rez's answer. The coaches have already had a Zoom call. I was actually on that call that they had last week. And I think the most important thing, and probably what's so frustrating for players, coaches, and even fans, is the consistency from one arena to the next. And so here we are, it's July, and we're already having meetings to make, and our head of officials was on there. Coach Rez brought up that Todd was on there. We are making sure as a league, and this will have a trickle-down effect to everybody, like I said, the fans, the coaches, we even had officials on this call as well, that we're trying to establish consistency across the board. And because I don't care what league you've been in, no matter how long you've been involved in it, I think Coach Rez can attest to this because he's been around for a while. But nothing is more frustrating when you go from one arena to another with different crews and stuff, and there's a lack of consistency across the board. And I really think that the NAL is taking, it's funny I'm saying this, it's taking the bull by the horns and really kind of hammering all that stuff out now. Hammering all those issues out now. And so I give Coach Rez and the rest of the competition and rules committee a lot of credit, not only the job that they've done, but the job that they're going to do. And I think it's going to really increase the entertainment and fan experience across the board for all of us.
So a little bit of a follow-up too with that, like in the offseason, we talked about when we moved to the National Arena League. Ricky, you talked a little bit about how you were excited about the rebound nets because kicking had kind of been taken, quote, out of the game in the former league that we were in. How do you feel that kicking is going to be affected without the rebound nets in the upcoming season?
Well, I think for me, I think there's going to be a little bit of a balance act, and I think this is where I think Coach Rez and the rest of the people will come on in, and I'll let Coach piggyback on this. I think if you have rules in play that make it hurt to where you're not actually kicking the ball and you're actually trying to take away a certain aspect of the game, where you're going to put, if you're the kickoff team and you're going to put your defense, they're already at a disadvantage already because of the rule set, let's be honest. And I think if you're going to have something in place where they're going to be at an even more disadvantage, I think that's part of the game. I think that I enjoy. It's kind of not pick your poison, but I think at certain point in time, certain dynamics, certain, like I'll tell you right now, man, you kick the ball off the Bruno and Sioux City, man, you better be prepared for that guy to take it all the way back, or what the heck, Adam Smith in Carolina. You know what I mean? You're probably gonna have a different strategy when you play those teams versus somebody else. And so I really think that's those strategies, what's gonna be implemented, I think will really come down to suggestions from Coach Rez. You talked about Chris Reynolds, and Chris, who was the other guy on the rules again with you? I'm sorry, my bad.
Coach Negron.
Coach Negron, God. And I swear to God, honest to God, my bad, Coach. I know you're watching this as well. Just remember, I bought you a couple drinks when you were here, so hopefully I'm making up for that. Coach
I think Daddy told him to go to bed, so he's probably asleep.
Well, he's going to see this sooner or later. Oh my gosh. I mean, and by the way, I mean, Jim, if you want to go ahead and send a yard stream invite to Coach Negron, I won't stop you. And I'll just grab my popcorn with both the coaches going. Be afraid, be very afraid. Coach Negron, you and I have talked about this some, but I mean, Rez, that's just my thoughts on it. But at the end of the day, I mean, hey, you guys being the coaches understand it even more. I don't know what your opinion would be about that.
Yeah. So, coming from most recently the last few years, not having the rebound nets for myself personally and our team, and, going forward with the Miners, it's not going to really be a change for us. I was looking forward to the rebound nets. I enjoy that aspect of the game. I think a lot of the teams that really didn't utilize the net so much, maybe so much I noticed there wasn't a lot of kickers that kicked it off the net, first of all. So
we had one.
You guys had one. I think Carolina had one. Carolina's kicker was pretty good too. So, but other than that, a lot of the issues with some of that stuff with coaches not liking that is just they don't really know how to use it very well. So, so for us and the teams that aren't used to the rebound nets, like the teams coming from the AIF, I think there's going to be some good continuity amongst that to where not having to worry about the nets. But it's a great aspect of the game. But it's going to put teams back more on strategizing on how they're going to go for the deuce, or they're going to split it down, and then just adds more strategy, really. So,
will the same penalty happen in the NAL like we see in the IFL? If the kicker misses the deuce, it balls on the 20, and if it continues to go on the 25, is it going to be similar rule sets for kickoff for deuces?
For the 20, yes. I'm not so sure about the 25. I think that's something we'll talk about, like with the kicking game stuff. Some of those little things of what needs to be cleaned up overall, just so it's the same. Really some of the ones that are really different each venue that I'm familiar with is, guys catching in the back of the end zone. If there's a square in the back of the end zone versus rounded, are they out? Are they in? Type things. Those are some of the things you just got to clarify and get ironed out.
I also noticed that in a lot of leagues this year is that rule sets change based on the arena, based on the setup of the field. Will there be a system like that this year? Because there are some arenas in the NAL coming up this year that the field is not every field is not the same. Will the rules change based on the setup that the home team has or whoever's hosting, or are we sticking to the same rule set no matter what venue is being hosted in?
I think that's what you said, Rez, right? I think you said depending upon it. I think that's what you said here, yeah.
Okay. Because square end zones, rounded end zones, off the wall, there's stuff there's some buildings where you can't kick it far because there's a Jumbotron that's right there.
Yeah, so from that instance, not every arena has a big Jumbotron like that. I don't think Harrisburg does, from what I can remember there. But there are some venues that like for our arena, for instance, the Jumbotron's all the way into the rafters. So that doesn't really come into play unless you kick it directly at the Jumbotron, which I guess you could do that. But most of our guys that have kicked in there haven't had any issues. And every arena is a little bit different from that aspect, but the shouldn't really become an issue from the Jumbotron unless the kicker's kicking it straight up in the air.
Yeah, no, I think I'd agree with you, Coach Rez. I mean, just some arenas are going to have, call it building or arena variances. Like Colorado's got a Jumbotron right at midfield and stuff like that. And so when you're trying to kick a field goal, and this is like going to kick off and stuff like that, you got to learn to kind of like loop that around. And in some instances, that almost becomes like a home field advantage because the home team kicker is used to that versus the guy on the road. But at the end of the day, though, hey, if the ball goes out the back of the end zone and one arena gets put at the 20-yard line, and I think Rez is correct, it's the 20-yard line, it'll be the same way across the board for everybody. If the ball bounces on the ground and goes out of bounds, if it hits the ground and goes out of bounds before certain markets where the ball puts at or afterwards, that consistency, which I talked about at the very beginning with the coaches already meeting and stuff like that, just making sure we have consistency across the board. And whatever that standard is, the standard is the same for everybody. There's going to be some variances. There's going to be some variances from one arena to the next. And like you said, Jim, you brought it up. In Carolina, they were the only arena, to my knowledge, that had these square end zones. Everywhere else I played at had the rounded ones. And so there's going to be some advantages and disadvantages to that, but the rule structure itself will be the same. So.
Yeah, one of the things that I took away from the meetings and from that coaches meeting with the Todd and the referees and whatnot, is just the education standpoint from the referee side, from the accountability and them, from the training aspect, and taking some of the instances that may pop up, because things happen every game and every venue, every team, has it. As everyone knows, I'm very animated when it comes with the referees. That's just part of the game, and I enjoy that. They enjoy it, as part of the show and entertainment. But to know that they're striving for the consistency across the board, and we have, as coaches, have input. Like if there's something wrong, like we have to speak up too. There's one thing that we did a few years ago when I was in the PIFL, which I always thought was pretty cool. All the head coaches were responsible of submitting their report as well. If they had any issues, whether they did or didn't, or any recommendations, we always had to submit that with the rest of our stuff that we'd have to submit on Mondays after games and whatnot. So I think teams just got away from that stuff more so because we got a lot of stuff going on anyway. I wouldn't say lazy on our part, but more so, people want to complain, but they don't want to do anything about it either. So I think that what they're building in the NAL with the referee standpoint is that communication line between the coaches, which I'm not really familiar with that through my last few years coaching, of having that direct line and trying to help change stuff as a whole. So I'm looking forward to that. That's pretty exciting for myself.
And Coach Rez, I got one more thing to add to that. Actually, two more things. Is one, our head of officials was on, and I love it. I love it whenever the head of officials who's responsible for all of them, he spit off numerous occasions, we messed up, we got this wrong here, or we didn't do it right there. So that's nice that, A, they're willing to admit that, because I've had experiences before where the officials are never wrong. It must be nice to always be perfect, But also, too, though, they're wanting to, again, he's wanting to talk about consistency where it's the same across the board. And again, he has standards. All of the officials are being graded after every single game. And there are officials that called games last year that won't be back because they're not meeting that standard, And then one last thing in regards to stuff that might change for rules and everything else. And I don't want to get it too far into the weeds because we don't have all of it out there. But there was some confusion from one arena to the next of what you could use for a challenge flag. And Coach Rez knows the conversation I was talking about. Same with Coach Negron, who was on the call as well. And so I know that the competition and rules committee is looking at expanding what can be challenged as well for the 2025 season. But again, that's stuff that they'll get together collectively as a group. They'll have conversations with coaches and our officials and stuff and look at, hey, what we can do to potentially expand that. The purpose of a challenge flag is, my thought process has always been that it's if you have three drunk guys in a bar and they're watching a football game and there's a call that's just so bad, so egregious but it got missed or something like that. That's what you should be able to utilize a challenge flag for, not the, hey, somebody is a quarter of a yard out of, I don't know, shy for an illegal defense or whatever. So, I don't think it's going to get too carried away. I could be wrong. But again, I think that they're going to take input from Coach Negron, Rez, and Chris on what can be challenged and reviewed and potentially look at expanding that as well. So what I really enjoy about this, and I'm sure all the coaches will and all the officials and everything else, is the fact that it's July and we're having these conversations now. And we're not having these conversations a week before the season kicks off and stuff's getting miscommunicated and everything else. I think we're trying to be incredibly proactive on, I'm a firm believer you get out of something what you put into it. We're putting a lot of effort up front now to give us the best possible product later on. And I believe that we're doing that and going to be very successful at it.
Speaking of the meetings, usually we have deadlines. What are the big key deadlines that organizations need to hit to make sure the 2025 season gets off without a hitch?
I would say, without getting into too much private information and stuff, again, I would say that I would anticipate by no later than the first week of September, all of the teams are going to be announced. That doesn't mean there's a deadline for applying by the first. I honestly would say that probably within about a week or two, whatever applications we have for expansion and everything else, it's almost, not saying it's going to be closed or shut off, but we're kind of at the point now where we're kind of going down the road of what we've got. We might get a surprise or a shock here or there or something, but I think that, like I said, probably by that first week of September, I I feel incredibly confident that the 2025 NAL team members will be reviewing the first draft of the schedule that first week of September. I can say that with a ton of confidence. And so we're not going to be accepting anybody after that. So I'd say as far as deadlines, I mean, all the teams have certain deadlines, certain criteria that they have to meet. And if they don't meet that, they're not on the schedule. We're not going to, hey, we'll do it now and you got till January to get it done. No, if it's not done before then hey, best of luck to you next year. This isn't the league for you, because we can't take our existing members and hold them up for somebody else, for people that have committed to go forward. And really, I mean, when you talk about deadlines, Jim, I mean, it really involves expansion and everything else. I mean, what I like right now is we have very few teams that are brand new. That's always your biggest risk area. And so if you're looking at taking a brand new franchise from, they haven't even announced yet, and you're looking at taking them in September, you're really gambling an awful lot and kind of really putting that organization in a bad position financially to even be able to make it. So, I mean, our schedule is going to be out the first week of October, if not sooner. And I would say that all of the NAL team owners will have the first draft of the schedule to review the first week of September. You can probably connect the dots from there. I mean, I don't know, Coach Reg, you got anything to add to that, or?
Yeah, I mean, the main focus of the meetings, which was pretty awesome, was the business side. All the owners are really dedicated in assisting each other. Everyone had great ideas. You know, some of the stuff that, you know, Ricky shared with their organization through the years and some of the stuff they're doing on the business side. I wouldn't say it's eye-opener stuff. It's, you know, you think you know a lot of stuff, and then you listen to some of these people that's been doing it for a long time, and it kind of makes you, you know, think of, you know, have I been doing everything that we possibly can do? So the cool thing is through the years, everyone's seen the ups and downs of the NAL. You know, I've been involved in the NAL through the years, so I've seen it. I've been on the roller coaster up and down. As many teams as we have right now, which is the most that the league has had at one time, is probably the strongest group collectively as an ownership group from all the teams, which is nice to see, being a part of bad ownerships through the years and different teams and all that stuff, to see everybody wanting to be better and everyone wanting to be the best they can be on the business side, because the football stuff is easy. And we all have all of our coaches are, you know, have their certain ways on doing football stuff. And as you can see, the competition through the season, you know, the games are pretty good. All the teams were, I wouldn't say even, since, you know, Omaha was undefeated. So obviously they were better than everyone, but
Another conversation, another time.
But overall, collectively, the competition was pretty strong. So the football isn't the problem. So when you do notice some other things from the business standpoint, that's what kind of lets you understand on teams. Are they going to last? Are they going to make it? You know, you can tell from, you know, Ricky mentioned on some of the deadline stuff early on, there's a lot of business stuff that the owners have to do leading up to the season. And there's milestones that need to be hit, you know, along that time. And as you reach those marks, as you know, maybe a team might be a little behind, or they're able to catch that well in advance to be able to help. You're only strongest as your weakest link, and you're reaching down to help pull up. And that's something that I don't think the NAL has really done through the years, other than cash calls and everyone throwing in money to help someone that's messed up. You know, that's not really helping the team that's messed up. You're just putting a Band-Aid on it and moving on. And I think the NAL, from what I can tell from the meetings and everything that we're a part of now, it's just a totally different atmosphere. And I think that's what's really laying the foundation to push forward and be pretty strong for the next few years.
One of the questions that I really want to get out is, we know in other leagues for presentation, will there be like a standard in the NAL in 2025 where we have a universal score bug where every team has the same thing, so you know it's National Arena League? And is there any venture maybe going outside of YouTube for like a maybe paywall like Flow Hockey or something like that to help bring revenue to the league? Is there anything in that in the future? Or is there anything that we might be interested in 2025 and beyond?
Rez, I'll answer that if you want. So to answer your question, yes, there are standards being done and put in place that are going to be uniform and consistent. Things as simple as a score bug and everything else, like you said, same graphics for games. Like we are going to be on YouTube. And I'm not saying that that's not going to change, but right now we're on YouTube for the 2025 season. If we get a phone call, if something happens or whatever, if you get a phone call and something happens and, hey, we have an opportunity to do something different, then we're going to go on ahead and sit down collectively as a group of owners and look at what makes the best business sense for us and for our fans, So as of this moment, there's nothing else on the table, but we are living in an ever-changing world that is changing faster and faster and faster more than anything. I'd say in regards to league-wide sponsors, to be brutally honest and transparent, we really don't have a lot of right or opportunity to have league-wide sponsors, I think, at this point in time. We're at a stage here where, Coach Rez and I, we sat in those meetings. We feel incredibly positive about where we're at. I know the other owners do as well. But, we have to come up with some consistency first. It's one of those things that I just don't think we've necessarily earned the right yet. I think we've got a couple things in the work for some small sponsors and everything, stuff that might come on about. But, we still have to kind of prove ourselves. And I'd say for better or for worse, we as a league across the board did not meet the standard of what we wanted. And so I think that Coach Rez talked about it. I did as well. I think once we meet those standards and we do that consistently year after year after year, or as the old saying goes, you got to crawl before you walk, and you got to walk before you run. We got to get out of the crawling stage and into the walking stage, because we fell flat on our face, and I'm not going to hide or shy away from it or whatever. And we fell flat on our face for a multitude of reasons. But the one thing I can say is, as a league, and I'll say as a owner of a team that is part owner of the league as well, they say the definition of insanity is do the same thing over and over, expecting a different outcome. I can tell you that our results at the end of the 2025 season, I say with the utmost confidence, are going to be way different than what they were even for 2024 and even past seasons. I'm very, very excited and fired up about. I left league meetings and I actually worked a little bit on Saturday and Sunday because I was writing so many notes down. Coach Rez shared some great stuff of what they do on things that they do from a business standpoint. We were at the office on yesterday, just fired up about implementing some of the stuff that we had learned. But all of those things collectively as a whole, I think will lead us to success on a league-wide level, on a national level that rolls into corporate-wide partnership agreements and everything else. Hey, where those take off and go, I don't know. I can tell you right now that I don't know if I should let the cat out of the bag, but I think we probably got a national game corporate partner already. But it's because the hard work that's been done by several people already lining out what it is that we're going to do. And there are, corporate businesses love that, hey, I'm going to provide you this. And if I don't provide you that, then you don't owe me anything, So in essence, even if you delivered 70% of what you said you were going to do, they don't have to pay for any of that. They still got 70% of something out of that. We have so many things that we're working on and doing on a league-wide level that's going to trickle down and help the teams individually. And, Coach Rez contributed some of that. His managing partner, Chris, did, and so did other people there. Again, we have a lot of smart people in that room. And one of my favorite sayings as well is, none of us is as smart as all of us. There was a lot of intelligence, a lot of knowledge, a lot of history, a lot of experience in that room. And we would be foolish if we didn't take advantage of that. And the NAL is not making that mistake, I can guarantee you.
I love that. What I'm hearing is that it is a collective group of owners and coaches that want to work together, and you're putting egos aside and everything like that. Absolutely love that. Next question from me would be Coach Rez first, and then Ricky. What are you most excited about for the 2025 season for the National Arena League?
Well, I would say most excited that for us and our organization is, for our travel. It was rough for us a little bit where we came from. Great stepping stone for us, but to be able to know that you're going into a good situation, that they're trying to do exactly what you're trying to do when you have your home games. And it comes back to, Ricky's mentioned it a lot about being good partners, just taking care of the away teams when they come in, those type things, just the overall, hand being extended, for things. I'm looking forward to the competition. There's great coaches in this league. Every coaching staff, carries something different than the other. Just to be back in the NAL is I'm one of the things that I'm most excited about. And I'll touch a little bit too. We were talking about the score bug and trying to have things look the same. We even talked about from the broadcast standpoint of when, and Todd mentioned it, when you watch any game, like it should look pretty similar to whoever's doing the broadcast. Like each game looks kind of the same as if you're watching a game on NFL Network or CBS or Fox. It doesn't matter what venue, it's all the same kind of standard. And we do a really good job in Wheeling, and we wanted to that was one of our main points of emphasis, to really help us as an organization to be taken serious going forward. Because if we have a great production from the broadcast standpoint, then what are they doing in-house, and what are they doing on game days, and all that kind of trickles down through everything else. So to be able to watch an Omaha game or watch a Carolina game, and every team has great something to do with their broadcast, but when you can take something from everyone and then all mold it into one entity, then that's going to be pretty cool. But we're as a group just very excited for where we're going. I've been in the NAL when it was 6 teams or 7 teams, and this past season you guys ended with 5 or something like that. I think this is probably the first time where we're going to start the season with as many teams that we started with, and we're going to end with as many teams as we started with, which has never really happened in the NAL. So I'm excited about that because that's different than what's happened through the years.
So I would say what I'm most excited about is, really, it just, like I said, Matt and Jim, and if I could find a way to articulate the teamwork that went into these meetings and all the people that contributed and what they did, I'm just really excited about all of that stuff coming to fruition and materializing, not only on the field but off the field. And also too, Coach Rez, Richard and I don't know what night it was, but we were sitting there talking. We're like, so we're here with Columbus, Wheeling, and Omaha. And I'm like, I don't know how we're going to do this, but somehow, some way, some form, some fashion, we're going to try to find a way where we all play each other at least once, I'm hoping. You know what I mean? So having 3 undefeated elite champions in the same league and everything else. My players and my coaching staff will probably shoot me for saying this. I don't think anybody's going to run the table this year. I don't think nobody's going to. And if they do, hats off. They deserve it and everything else. Selfishly, I'd hope it would be us. But no, I'm also excited too about just playing some of the different teams and some of the people I have so much respect for. So whether we end up in Wheeling or Wheeling comes to us, and Columbus and vice versa, whatever, I'm excited to kind of just see some of those matchups that I know the fans are dying to see as well. So, I'm really excited about that on top of that. And I know that our fans in Omaha, I don't want to say it doesn't matter who we play, because whenever we play Sioux City, they just seem to get a little bit more jacked for that game than anybody else. But I think our fans are just going to be excited to see even more teams, more teams. They saw a couple new teams come in this last year from Carolina. Idaho came there. Colorado was different as well. Heck, even Oklahoma. So I think our fans got excited about that. And, our fans are incredibly knowledgeable. They do their own research, and they know about stats on this person, who to watch for that person. So I'm just excited to kind of really grow. When I say growing our brand, I'm excited to be growing the NAL brand. Brad says, I want Carolina and Wheeling week number 1. Hey, Brad, I'm going to send you my my Cash App or my Venmo account. Anything can be bought for a price, and I'm sure that Coach Rez and Coach Negron and John and Kristen, all of them, I let them in on the cut of that. We can make it happen. So hey, just be ready to send the money, right, Coach Rez? No. Anyways, that's probably what I'm excited about a lot. It's just we have so many new things coming up, so many new changes, but normally my experience in this industry is typically change is met with some fear, I guess you could say, some anxiety. And I can just tell you, I mean, where we're at a year ago versus now, it is a night and day difference from that anxiety, fear factor level. I mean, I'm sitting there asking myself, did we make the right decision on what league, this one versus another one? And I feel like we did a really good job of that. But I don't have any of that stuff. We're taking all of this energy and we're really kind of focusing in on not only making our organization better, but making the league better by working with the league and the teams as well. So that's probably a lot of things I'm excited about, not just one thing, Matt. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I love it. So are we sure we want to have the Barber Shears game, the first game of the year, or whatever we're calling that next year?
Golden Shears Bowl. Get it right.
There you go. That's what it was. The Golden Shears Bowl.
I don't know. I think Harrisburg.
Hey, Coach Rez, have you seen that commercial? It's the Deadpool Wolverine trailer where Deadpool takes Wolverine's claws out and he puts them into a Heineken bottle. Have you seen that one?
No.
Oh, you have not? Oh, man. Well, I'm just thinking as proper host of the show, man, they'd at least get us a beer set up on DoorDash or something like that to have during their show. Don't you agree?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe they'll take a clue for all the people that come after us. Coach Rez, you and I will work on setting the standard of what a proper host should be. Because oftentimes when people go on shows and everything else, they're catered, they get meals brought to them and everything else. So maybe we'll get a drink next. Maybe the people behind us will get a drink and we'll shame them into doing that. How does that sound?
If only one of the hosts of this show lived near one of the people we have on right now. But
I'm just telling you right now, man. I mean, anything's possible with Uber, DoorDash, and everything else, man. I mean, that mindset is a mindset of making excuses rather than making it happen, right, Coach Rez?
Absolutely. Hey, I know we could take an opportunity too. I was going to talk about this a little bit tomorrow night as well, but you want to bring up the T-shirt thing that we talked about that you were mentioning and whatnot?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
I know we got a lot of good fans on here. I got some of our fans, and I think it'd be cool to put that out there a little bit since it's Inside the Walls podcast, since we're on here.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, it's so Inside the Walls Network. Jim, I'm sure you'll take care of sharing the link and everything else and stuff. Has merchandise available now. You can actually purchase that merchandise. Currently, as it sits, there are 2 NAL team members that have shows through your network, that being Prime Cuts and Inside the Wire as well. Those are on the back of the shirt. So we are actually asking fans, we are reaching out to fans and asking fans to help us bring the Inside the Walls network to your arena for a home game for the 2025 season. So if you guys can click on that link, you can actually purchase merchandise and everything else. And if we sell enough shirts, and we're not talking many, we're only talking 35 shirts. So I saw a Trident logo up earlier. I don't know who posted it. I saw somebody said, "Go Spartans." If the Spartans are able to coordinate and sell 35 shirts, we will bring Inside the Walls network to a Colorado Spartans home game, a Corpus Christi Tritons home game as well. And so, I mean, I know, hey, you guys are going to talk about this more, but kind of help us get the word out on there, and it's something as simple as, we sell 35 shirts. We will bring this network to a home game for you. So just telling you right now, Jim, I know Omaha Bee fans are going to buy more than enough shirts to cover that. My man, Kevin Podney, better buy 20 alone, just so you know. It's his idea that got us started on this. So plan on making a game to the Slaughterhouse for next year. We're going to be excited to have you.
So should we get the Big and Rich song, "We're Coming to Your City," or is that copyrighted by ESPN?
Well, we'll figure that part out. So we'll come up. Hey, we're going to be original. We're going to come up with our own music, man. I don't know if you heard us in Omaha. We got our own theme songs and everything else and stuff, dude. We don't copycat. We do our own stuff, man. All right?
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I did it earlier this year in Willing, and with the great host Rez and Duffy. That was awesome. Yeah, I believe that's something in the industry that needs that.
No, I agree. And that's one of the things that we shared at our league meetings at Coach Rez. I mean, I'm glad he brought it up. We shared this with everybody. You know what I mean? It's an incredible branding and exposure opportunity, not only for the league, for the teams and everything else and stuff like that. So help us take Inside the Walls network on the road to an NAL team near you. So.
Yeah, that's
Coach?
awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much you see on here. Negron chimed in and said, "Jim and Matt will see you in Carolina in 2025." So, you get Carolina getting on there, Corpus, Colorado. Eventually all the teams will have something on there. That's again the consistency of trying to make everything be the same. that I just think that just adds a different, it's for the fans, right? So do as much as we can, for the fans. And that's just a whole nother element that we can add. That's, pretty cool. So
just do me a favor, Jim, make sure you take that store link and post that in the comments after the show and stuff. That way people can click on there and everything else. So.
I'm working on that right now.
Perfect.
Is there a way?
Hey, we're still waiting for Negron to get that invite, man. But anyway, so you work on that.
Is there a way for Ricky? Is there a way for fans to put what team they're from on that store?
No, actually, it's going to be there's actually a drop down feature box on there that gives it. I mean, obviously, we know who we're shipping it to and stuff like that. So no, it'll be easy for us to keep track of it and everything else. So again, hey, we're just excited to again kind of like Rez said, talk about growing the brand, growing the entertainment aspect and everything else. Yeah, I was going to give us an Omaha announcement, but I want to shut up here. I was going to say breaking news. Nope, I've already done enough breaking news. We have some new stuff happening in Omaha next year. So
I know a guy with a podcast that would love to share that information. So
perfect.
Well, really, Matt? Whose podcast?
I don't know. It's a fun one, but yeah, Ricky, really quick with the shirts. Any consideration of doing individual show shirts?
Matt, let's just work on selling our 35 first. All right. Because Matt, if I'm not mistaken, as of probably about an hour or so ago, you haven't bought one. I have, just so you know, but not an hour ago, you have not purchased one, And for the record, Coach Rez has already purchased one as well, just so you know. So I'm just telling you. So I'd say let's go ahead and get the ones out of the way first there. Man, guy, you put yourself in the firing squad for that one, But.
It's okay. I deserve it.
Damn!
Oh my gosh, I love.
Hey, but I will say, Matt is favoring Omaha, and you, with the sales aspect of always selling, it's even trickling to your broadcast team guys. They're trying to make extra. They're trying to sell something, and so it's working. What you're doing, what you're doing is working through everybody.
Perfect.
Well, Ricky, Coach Rez, any final words? We've been on here for an hour.
No, I'm excited. It was perfect timing for me. I just got home from doing a youth football camp at the high school I coach at, so that was pretty cool. And it's always football. So it's it's pretty cool to be able to jump on here. So I appreciate it.
No, man. Hey, sorry, Coach Negron, that he wussed out and didn't send you the invite. So Coach Rez and I would have loved to have had you on here with us. But no, I mean, I'll just sorry, Jim. I'll just reiterate what I said earlier. I am been doing this a long time, and I'm incredibly fired up about the 2025 season. I can't help but chuckle a little bit that there are some, I guess you'd call it haters of the NAL out there that seem to endear themselves to a certain other league and everything else. And here we are doing the same things that they did a year ago, but even better. But we're somehow getting blasted for it when a year ago they were giving them praise. So I guess if we had people throwing shade our way and everything else, or the drip Coach Rez, as our owner Don Belson called it in Sioux City, we must be doing something right. I mean, we've got to be doing something right, because I think we definitely have people's attention. And I know that all my partners in the NAL, and not just team owners, coaches, players, I mean, I know guys are going to be really fired up for the 2025 season. There's a lot of great things that are coming. And we still have, I would say the next 30 to 45 days, I think people are going to be just kind of really taking some notice of some things that we're doing. I think they're doing that already. And, Jim, Matt, you guys have been great avenues for helping us get that message out along with Jeff and stuff. So, hey, just excited for the job that you guys are doing, and there's a lot more stuff coming. So, and yes, Brad, I agree with you. I mean, whenever we show on up, people love to hate our football team. Well, they hate our football team because time and time again, we seem to walk out of there with a W, but that's on a team level. This is on a league level. The National Arena League is scoring check mark after check mark after check mark for wins. It's kind of like with the Olympics going on right now. You're keeping track of what country's winning what medals and everything else. And, just like the USA, the NAL is adding medal after medal after medal of what's going on. And just there's some things Rez and I can't share with everybody, but I'm excited about the 2025 season. I know he is. I know the rest of our partners are, because we got a lot of great stuff in store that it's going to be a special year coming up.
Yeah, pay attention to coming up soon. A lot of the teams are starting to get contracts out to players and finalizing coaching staffs, and a lot of those announcements be rolling out, per the teams and whatnot. So a lot of good excitement and stuff starting to happen, and got some good momentum here in the off season. So we're excited to see where it goes.
Well, gents, Matt, you got any final words before I cut you off?
I do not. I was in the process of ordering my shirt, actually.
Coach Rez, peer pressure is an amazing thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Coach Rez, how many people do stuff because you've done it in Wheeling? Yeah. Well, they do it in Wheeling, they got to do it. Well, they do it in Omaha, it means we got to do it. So this is not only Matt, but everybody else watching the show as well. Click on that link that Jim's posted in there. Get your Inside the Walls Network merchandise. And again, help us bring the show on the road to an arena for you for the 2025 season. We just got so many great things going on. I mean, it's something really, really special we got this year. I'm excited about it.
Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, that's been your updates of the National Arena League meetings. We'll be back next week. I got to get a hold of Casey again to get Columbus on here to do the Columbus introduction show. Wanted to get this show out of the way because the league meetings are more important than one organization. The whole league needs to get love sometimes. So with that, special guest, Coach Rez, I'll be with him tomorrow afternoon for Through the Wire as we kick off our post-league meeting show. And that's Ricky, one of the best owners in the industry. He gives you the facts straightforward, no BSing. That's what I like. And that's Matt. He does another podcast.
Yep.
Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great episode. We'll see you guys next week for another edition of Inside the Walls podcast. So be safe, be well, be kind to your neighbors. Turn off the TV. Go have fun. We'll see you next week.